I'm Jacob.
I'm Yuri.
And we're going for a drive.
'20 Mercedes-AMG GLC63 S.
4MATIC Plus with launch control. Oh my God, that's violent.
Horsepower and torque.
503 horsepower, 516 pound-feet of torque from a handcrafted 4-liter twin-turbo V8.
And this is all-wheel drive.
Yes, it is. 4MATIC Plus.
And even though it's 4MATIC Plus, this does not have drift mode.
No, it doesn't, even though it's theoretically capable of it.
Which means disconnecting the front wheel so it's full rear-wheel drive.
And I even checked the Mercedes-AMG Canada website, and it says even in its pure rear drive mode, which I can't get this into, and there is no pure rear drive mode that I can find.
I mean, if there is a secret way to do it, Mercedes engineers, hit us up, let us know, and we'll try it next year maybe.
Yeah, maybe. But anyways, this thing's fast, so let me just floor it. Downshift so quickly. Oh, it sounds so good too.
This is like the most satisfying SUV to drive and shift besides the Stelvio Quadrifoglio.
Yeah, this I just can't get over every time you say Quadrifoglio. It's Folio.
Quadrifoglio.
Anyways, yeah, this is straight up one of my favorite SUVs to drive because it doesn't feel like an SUV pretty much at all.
And especially compared to the BMW equivalents like the X3M and the X4M that we drove on the track, this feels so much better.
Yeah, this is just more exciting to drive. It handles better. It overall just generally feels faster and just more aggressive.
And you can hear when it's time to shift. You can hear the motor more compared to the BMWs as well, which rely a lot more on the pumped inness.
Yeah, and since this is a 9-speed multi-plate clutch transmission, it feels a lot better off the line than it does compared to the X3M because that's a traditional ZF auto.
And again, that all-wheel drive for launches just kills everything that's rear-wheel drive for launches, even if it's like a faster car, you know?
Yeah, so this 0 to 100 kilometers per hour is 3.8 seconds, which is on par with the X3M Competition, but this feels so much better.
So compared to the GTR that we drove recently, that's rear-wheel drive, this launch is probably going to be overall faster unless you're on a perfectly prepped surface and doing like a 0 to 60 for Motor Trend or Road and Track or something.
Yeah, because the GTR is 0.2 seconds faster to 100, but getting that actual number is nearly impossible. This will do 3.8 all day and probably even faster than that.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah, and since this is a real AMG, it has a handcrafted motor, so there is a signature on it. But let's talk about the actual handling into Cliche Corner. So I'm going to put it into race mode and traction fully off, and let's see what this does. Okay, this just straight up feels like a car, except a little bit taller. And now I'm going to floor it out of this corner and see what happens. A little bit of oversteer, only because I fully had to turn off the traction.
Not only because of the traction, because you're also in race mode. If you were to try the same thing in Sport Plus, it like still bogs down with everything off.
Because new for this year is AMG Dynamics, which we thoroughly explained in our AMG GTR review, so watch that. So to get your AMG Dynamics into Master, you have to have it in race mode, or you can also customize it through your individual. You can't customize it any other way.
Yes, the AMG GTR, you're able to customize it from the button on the steering wheel in any mode. So if we go through Cliche Corner in Sport Plus with traction on, let's see it bog down.
Okay, same thing, gonna downshift, same gears I did before. And yeah, you can feel the outside just bogging down. Like, it doesn't fully cut the power yet, but it wants to bog down so hard. But generally talking about handling and suspension, this AMG is absolutely incredible. Way better than the GLC43, which was already really good.
But pretty much exactly the same as the last GLC63 that we drove. And what's been updated is the outside looks a little bit, and we've got the all-new MBUX inside.
Yeah, so the engine's the same, the handling should be basically the same other than the AMG Dynamics, which have been added, so that changes things a little bit. So handling-wise, this does have adaptive air suspension, and it is fairly stiff, stiffer than typical BMW models, but not overly stiff even in comfort mode in this car.
Yeah, very livable.
And you can even dump the rear end to make this thing look way better when it's parked.
But only when you're loading stuff in.
Yeah, but generally this thing has a way better overall stance compared to the 43. And since this is a real AMG, we haven't really touched on this yet. Let's talk about the sound. Downshift, downshift. That V8 rumble, and let's see if we get some crackles. Yes.
Yes.
So good.
It does sound like it is pumped in here.
Yeah, it must be a little bit, but from the outside, this sounds incredible. When you were passing me by, I was in a different car. It sounded amazing with the window down.
And while you're driving, you can hear everything. You can hear every shift. Every time you do something, you hear it, you know what's going on, and it's so much more satisfying than BMW products that are equivalent.
Yeah, and it's such an aggressive tone, and the overall crackles and pops are just, they're programmed so well that they're like random enough.
They're random, but like kind of predictable when they're gonna happen.
Like I can make them happen nonstop, so I'm gonna downshift and just over and over be really annoying, kind of like what we did with the AMG GTCs. I love it.
It's exactly what I want.
Exactly. Like BMWs are just too predictable, and the tone of the pops is just wrong.
It's and this is
fantastic. AMG engineers, like, round of applause for you guys.
But then you can't rev it all the way to redline when you're parked, which kind of sucks, but like no one really lets you do that.
Except the AMG GTR let you do that.
Yeah.
So with all that out of the way, let's talk about looks, but let's get you behind the wheel.
Non-confusing launch control. Hold the brake, floor it.
Race start.
Okay.
Love.
Really good. An equivalent BMW would have given us a hard time trying to get into that launch control.
Yes, it would have. And since this is a real AMG, unlike the 43, not hating, just stating, this does have race mode.
Yes. The other one would stop at Sport Plus.
Yes, which is why this also gets launch control.
Okay, so let's get into the looks, because we recently drove the GLC43, and there's a lot of changes between that and this one.
Specifically what, Yuri?
Okay, if you look at the front end, the GLC43 had similar openings. These ones look a little bit bigger, and they're full-out openings. They're real, where the GLC43 just kind of had that plastic material in front.
But we do have the exact same headlights, and I think this front end does look great.
Yes, this is the updated GLC headlights, so they do look good. We do have the Panamericana front grille, which I think the year before's GLC43 only had the pin grille, but this year's also has the Panamericana grille. And then around those big openings at the bottom, we do have body color match swoops that go around the openings too. And
moving around to the side, we have different wheels than we had on the 43, but I like these almost as much, but they're not my favorite compared to the forged wheels you can get, which we had on the E63S.
I really, really love these wheels, and I think Mercedes is doing an awesome job of speccing out their models, finally.
And compared to the 43 that we had, this has 6 piston front calipers, and the 43 had 4 piston front calipers.
And that one didn't have red front calipers, did it?
No, it did not.
Ooh, red for a race car.
That's right.
And what is the Continental recommended tire for the AMG GLC63S?
The Conti Sport Contact 6.
Then on the 43, we had plastic cladding over both wheel arches. This one, we also still have plastic cladding. We can't get it body matched. But on the 43 that we recently drove, it had wider plastic cladding on the back only, where this GLC63 has wider on the back and on the front.
Yeah, so the front on the 63 is only a little bit wider than the 43. But it does totally suck that you can't color match it in any options that Mercedes offers.
Yeah, but I don't even know if it would look like better, you know what I mean?
I think it would. BMWs are always color matched, and I think they look really good.
Yeah. Just get the black one. No one will know.
Yeah.
Okay, and then obviously this is not the coupe version.
Which means that I automatically like it more.
Yeah, and I'm just not even going to talk about that right now.
It just looks like a really tall wagon, like a fat wagon.
Yes, and it's very car-y, especially if you look at the side view when you dump the back from the trunk. The way the wheels sit inside the arches is perfect. I kind of want the front to be the same way.
I fully want that. Come on, Mercedes, I know you can program that in here.
So now moving on to the back end, we do have an extra little spoiler added on top of the spoiler, which is the same as the GLC43 spoiler.
And then we have the Mercedes updated design language taillights, which look pretty cool.
And then we've got double dual quad exhaust in here.
Yes, not ovals like on the 43, and they sound and look amazing here.
But they are not real exhaust, they're disconnected, so 2020 real.
Yes, unfortunately. But fun fact, they actually get really hot because the exhaust is still blowing directly onto them.
Yeah, somehow I managed to burn the back of my leg on this one and the 43.
Yes, you did. And between those exhaust tips, we got a pretty nice diffuser, nothing too crazy.
And a trailer hitch.
Yes, to tow my jet ski with.
How many jet skis can we tow with this?
A couple. I only have one though.
So we both like the looks of this GLC63 a lot. How do you feel it looks compared to the competition?
So like the BMW X3M Competition, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio, the Jaguar F-Pace SVR, the Volvo XC60 T8 Polestar Engineered, and the Porsche Macan Turbo, I think this is near the top personally.
This is, I think, the most car-y version of all of those.
But the Stelvio is kind of tied with this because it's just so cool.
So moving on to the interior, since this is a real AMG, It does have track pace. I did try to get it connected again, still no luck. It said it's not available to the app just yet, which sucks, but it's cool. I tested it out and we can do ghost mode, so you can run through a track and while you're driving, it'll have augmented reality and show ghosts.
It's a really cool feature. I just wish it worked better.
Yes, if someone from Mercedes can walk us through it, that would be perfect.
I'm sure there's a way to make it work, but it's just difficult for us to figure it out, which it shouldn't be.
Yeah, because I want to use my phone as the 4K camera for track stuff to test it out, but I just can't get it working.
Exactly.
So this does have the new MBUX infotainment. It does have the trackpad to use it, which I don't like. However, this whole time I've been using it as just a touchscreen and it's been working great.
What do you think I've been telling you the whole time with this new system?
Okay, and the best part is these 3 vents up here, I use the middle one to rest my fingers and I touch everything I need to do. When you use it as just a touchscreen, it's definitely better, but I still miss the rotary wheel.
And it's nice that the vents aren't gloss black in this one.
So just like the GLC43, it's pretty much exactly the same. We've got Apple CarPlay, it's not full widescreen, we've got Android Auto, we've got rewinding satellite radio stations and tune mix.
We have themes, a very high resolution 360 camera.
Lots of angles to make parking easy, and then we've got the updated gauge, which is pretty much exactly the same as everything on Mercedes now, even whether it doesn't have the updated MBUX.
Yeah, and we have the Super Sport gauges, which we love because it puts the tach right in the middle.
And it flashes red when it's time to upshift or when you're doing launch control. Then we got a nice head-up display that we can customize a bunch of different ways to have tachs and stuff.
And we have an awesome D-shaped steering wheel with Alcantara, and then we also have the drive mode functions on the steering wheel as well as the LCD functions that you can change.
The more and more I drive these new AMG models, the more and more I love all these buttons on the steering wheel. I think it's great, and I love that there's full drive modes, unlike the X5M that doesn't have dedicated Sport, Comfort, Sport Plus, Race, and all that stuff.
That's what I'm saying. This new Mercedes system of customization is my favorite in comparison to BMW's because I really like the BMW previous generation system.
And then this does have the cool ambient lighting, but it's not as good as the E-Class, but it is pretty good.
And then we've got carbon fiber in the dash, and I think it looks awesome. You can get dark ash wood, which Yuri likes.
And then you've got nice materials on the side, all like this brushed steel stuff. Then we've got heated and cooled seats, which is great. And do you like the seats?
I do like them. They're a lot more bolstered than they were in the 43.
And I love the seating position. You get so nice and low. It totally feels like I'm in a car. Like I don't feel like I'm in an SUV.
Yeah, it's only handling wise that you kind of feel that it's a little bit top heavy, but driving wise and sitting wise, yeah, you're kind of in a car.
And since this is an SUV and it is kind of disguised as a car, we should probably do the box test.
Box test!
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And I feel like that's more room than you'd get in like the A-Class hatch, and probably even more room than an AMG E-Wagon.
I don't remember what the E-Wagon did.
But I feel like if you need the room, but you still want your SUV to pretty much be a car, this is like the perfect compromise.
Yeah, 100%, because you don't even really compromise on the back seats, which still have a lot of room at 6'1.5" for myself.
And there's no compromise in the drive, like at all.
No, you're right, but I would still personally take an E63S wagon just because I'm me.
And to cut off power to the front wheels.
Yeah, and it is a wagon, so it just looks cooler, and yeah.
But this is like the Subaru Forester, like cool wagon style thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. And we do have 2 cup holders up front, and let's find out if it fits this cup that I already had in there. Yep, fits just perfect.
How about the visors?
Let's find out.
3, 2, 1.
Yes!
Perfect. Look how far that goes. All the way.
Good job, Mercedes. Yuri, can you just give me one more rip before we talk about the price?
Oh, so good sounding. Hit me with the price.
Starts at $93,000
Canadian.
and this one with a bunch of options is $112,350.
Don't mind the price.
I don't either, and it's in the ballpark of every other car in this segment, except the Volvo, which kind of technically shouldn't be in this segment, but it kind of is.
Okay, good, because there's no way a Volvo is as fun to drive as this.
Nowhere near as fun to drive with this, because it has that weird horsepower number that's whole thing.
The Volvo's probably not even as fun to drive as a GLC 400 or 300. So then overall, would you take this over one of the competition that you listed earlier?
I would take this over pretty much all of the competition, but I would tie it with the Stelvio Quadrifoglio, and I really like the Porsche Macan as well.
I would take the Stelvio Quadrifoglio over this for sure.
I get it.
I wouldn't even call it a Quadrifoglio. I would straight up call it the Quadrifoglio.
Thank you.
That car was too special. Even though I love driving this, that Stelvio was just so perfect. I had way more fun driving that, I think because of that half Ferrari motor.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, but I totally also love this V8 sound and the way this handles. This is Mercedes-AMG seems to be more me.
And even though I love all of the tech that's in here that's not in the Stelvio, it's just, that gets one extra point for me.
You do get more luxurious features, and I think the interior is generally way better in here as well. So there are some trade-offs here and there.
Let us know which fast, smaller SUV you would take in the comments below.
And guess the next car for the next video right here. Let us know what you think it is.
What is it? I don't even know what it is.
I don't even know yet either.
We don't even set the schedule until later.
No, we don't.